so delighted to have Joy King joining us today. Who's going to be talking to us about natural birth support using pressure points and essential oils. A little bit more about the lovely Joy is that she's a lover of trees, mountains, forests, animals, plants, and streams. In fact, anything to do with great Mother Nature. Fueled by Joy's passion for loving and supporting the feminine in us all. She's the owner at JoyRisingZA, and she uses tools as close to nature as possible to support and care for her clients and family. That's acupressure, shiatsu, and essential oils are her closest work allies, and she serves as sacred birth-keeping doula and intuitive body worker. She's a single mom to 3 unschooled daughters, Rachel, Eden, and Zara, who are now 24, 23, and 18, and she can be found wandering in the local mountains, discovering hidden waterfalls, and snuggling her cat Piper, or taking long beach walks and reading esoteric spirituality whenever she has downtime. So Joy, thank you so much. I have made you a co-host. So if you want to share your screen, you can go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to stop my video and mute myself so that you can go ahead. And thank you.
Thank you so much for the lovely invitation, Karen. And thank you so much, everyone who's here, who's signed in to join us today. I'm Joy, and I am so delighted to be sharing in this time with you. Yeah, I'm going to jump right in, talking about supporting labor and birth using acupressure and essential oils. I'm just making sure that actually my screen is sharing. Can I just get some feedback from everyone that you can see my screen share?
Can see and hear you.
Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you so much. So okay, here we go. I am, okay, I'm just figuring this out quickly. Give me a minute. I have my helper with me and I can't see my screen that I'm supposed to be looking at. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Great. Lovely. Thank you, Dale, for helping me with my, my screen. Right. Supporting labor and birth using acupressure and essential oils. But first, what is acupressure? Okay, we hear about this, and people often ask me, what is the deal with acupressure? Is it the same as acupuncture? Well, acupressure is an ancient healing art that uses fingers and sometimes feet, sometimes elbows, to press key points on the surface of the skin that stimulates the body's natural self-curative abilities. And when these points are pressed, they release muscular tension and they promote circulation of blood and the body's life force, which in traditional Chinese medicine is known as qi. So acupuncture and acupressure both use the same points, but acupuncture employs needles, while acupressure uses gentle but firm pressure of the hands and feet and knees. So what are pressure points exactly? They can be found running in what I like to think of as rivers around the body. Those rivers are what we call meridians. So the pressure points are places on the skin that are especially sensitive to bioelectrical impulses in the body, and then they conduct those impulses around the body. These points lie on these special pathways called meridians. Western scientists have also mapped out and proven the existence of the system, which obviously then means that it's for real, right? Because Western science proved it. Anyway, stimulating these points has an effect of actually helping to release endorphins, which we know in birth, we want that release of endorphins. So when we are able to actually target pressure points, that is one of the byproducts of actually being able to work with them and to bring and stimulating them. It's the release of endorphins, which are those neurochemicals that relieve pain. And as a result, pain is blocked and the flow of blood and oxygen to those affected areas is then increased. This causes the muscles to relax, which is exactly what we want for women in labor, right? We want them to have, to not be tense. We don't want them to be tensed up, because obviously when you are in labor and you're tensing up, you're going to just feel more discomfort. And so why add essential oils to that? It's already so effective. Why would you add essential oils to that? Well, I like to add oils because, firstly, I just want to go into what are essential oils, right? If you've ever walked past a lavender bush, picked a flower, I know we've all done this, and smelled it, what you're inhaling is the plant's volatile chemical compounds, okay? Which broken down is basically essential oil, okay? So essential oils are the essence of a plant that has been distilled and prepared for you to bring the power of nature literally into your hands. So inside many plants, hidden in roots, in the seeds, in flowers, the bark, are concentrated, highly potent chemical compounds. These natural compounds are essential oils. I think there's a misconception sometimes that essential oils are just from the flowers of plants, but literally it can come from any part of a plant or tree. It can even be resin from a tree, like with frankincense, okay? These natural compounds, these are essential oils, and they not only give the plant its scent, but you may not have known this, but it also protects the plant from hazardous environmental conditions and even assists with pollination. So it even draws bees and insects for pollination and birds and so on. But like with tea tree, for example, it grows in swampy, damp areas. That's where it thrives. And tea tree oil we use for kind of fungal growths on the skin. So the very thing that the plant uses to protect itself in those environments is what we can benefit from when we are using them. And that's one of the reasons I absolutely love essential oils. So when you combine essential oils with just that system in your body, that vibrational system in your body that runs along the meridian pathways, our bodies will recognize the clean, pure essential oils as adaptogenic allies to work with, either to bring homeostasis, to bring healing, to bring protection, or to calm the mind and the body. Through various tests, it has been found that as with the human body, with all those electrical impulses pulsing through the body, essential oils offer vibrational frequency as well. So using oils and combining them actually raises the vibration of the person using them. And I've added this chart because it just gives you a little look into a normal, healthy human body. That electrical frequency that it's running around the system, that is passing through the system, it goes between 62 and 78 megahertz. When you're praying or meditating or bringing your mind into a place of stillness, you actually can raise your vibration by about 15 megahertz. You start getting ill or disease starts at about 58 megahertz. A negative thought, fear or shame brings you down by about 12 megahertz. So essential oils can go anywhere from between 52 to 580 megahertz, depending on the plant. So I'm just a little short one here. Rose essential oil, 320 megahertz. Helichrysum, this is just to give you an idea of the potency of the vibration of these oils when they have not been adulterated, when they are pure and clean. Our bodies literally recognize them as allies to work with. And then that uptake is just potent. One of the reasons I also just love using oils is this was just a research that was done a while back in 1994. The Nursing Times issue March the 2nd, 1994, published this research study titled Using Aromatherapy in Childbirth. The study surveyed 500 women in the delivery room, and of these women, 74% used no form of pain relief except essential oils such as lavender, Cary Sage, peppermint, eucalyptus, chamomile, frankincense, rose, and lemon. And the results were that a high level of satisfaction was reported from both patient and midwife. The aroma covered unpleasant hospital smells and decreased anxiety among other patients and staff as well. It's like the gift that keeps on giving, right? It's like, I'm using this for myself, but it's actually blessing everyone else in my environment as well. And in this particular study, lavender was seen to reduce maternal anxiety, provide pain relief, and lighten the mood. And that's the other thing about essential oils, is that I might be using it for one thing, like maybe for calming me, but it's also going to reduce anxiety. It's also going to provide pain relief. It's also an amazing skin oil. So it's really great, like for supporting the skin as well. So they also found in the study that peppermint reduced nausea and vomiting, while Cary Sage helped to increase surges. So that was just this. Since 1994, there's been a lot more research that's been done on the effect of essential oils in birth and just in everyday life in general. And what we're finding is just mind-blowing in terms of that. And you can always go onto, if you love researching, you can always go onto a site called pubmed.gov. And look at the research papers that's been done on pure essential oils. So how I use acupressure and essential oils at births. Yeah, it's for me, it's my hands, my oils, and yeah, just that's basically it. Mostly, it's the two things that I rely on the most at a birth, and just the presence. Combining these two. So some labor supporting pressure points, there are more, but I'm just going to give some highlights here for you that you can focus on, whether you are pregnant and expecting a baby, or whether you're a birth supporter yourself, or keep a doula or a midwife yourself. The first one is on the inside of the ankle, about 4 finger spaces up from that ankle bone. If you feel into it, you might actually notice it's like a little indent, like a little valley that goes into the leg. And at that point there, the traditional Chinese medicine call it the biggest stream. I would recommend that you only stimulate this during labor. Or if there are some people who like to use it as a natural induction point as well. But yeah, we can talk about induction at a different time. But I like to just only stimulate this during labor, because it will help to keep the consistency of those surges going. So if there's been a stalling or a falling back in terms of surges during active labor, you can stimulate that point. So it relieves labor pain. It also relieves swollen feet, supports you when you're feeling fatigued, or when there's ankle or back pain. So really lovely and supportive for mothers in labor. Then in the second picture there, those sacral points, you can see there's so many of them, and you can literally touch in any one of those, in any area, on any one of those points within that lower sacral area, and you will be supporting the mother in some way. So you can do that by either literally like using one finger into each of those points around that sacral area, or you can use your whole hand, or even like a fist. That's not obviously going to, not the bony part, but just kind of getting pressure onto that sacral area. So the counter pressure of leaning in your hand, or a gentle fist into that area will bring such support to the mother. So stimulating the points there will relieve lower back pain or lower back and labor pain by applying steady, firm pressure on those points. It helps to relax the uterus as well, and the pelvic area to relieve labor pain. So, you know, you can combine that with the hip squeezes. Someone may have spoken about hip squeezes already today, but basically those hip squeezes, you're also getting into those pressure points when you're coming and providing that counter pressure from the side, or when you're bringing firm pressure directly onto that sacral area, the lower back. Okay. And any mom who is in labor will tell you just how much they really, really appreciate that firm, steady pressure against their lower back there. And then the next picture is the shoulder well. And I want to also just caution you here, don't apply harsh or sudden pressure to this point to a woman who is in labor. You can even just a gentle massage across the shoulder, the top of the shoulder, will also stimulate this point. But if there is a need for it, you can start applying like just a gentle pressure into that well. Okay, it assists childbirth, it relieves pain. It's really great for someone who's feeling nervous, irritable, or anxious about the birth process, whether they are feeling fatigued, whether there's shoulder tension, maybe there's poor circulation, cold hands and feet. So that point is actually a really lovely one to be aware of, when because it kind of taps into the emotional support as well. So when there's tension, when she's feeling irritable, when she's feeling anxious, when she's feeling nervous, just be gentle there. So just a gentle massage across that area. And if it's really needed, you can get your thumb into that well with just very gentle pressure. It would need to be steady, and yeah, you would only need to, with pressure points, you only need to hold it for like a few seconds. Like you can count like up to 5 seconds and then release it. Okay, you don't have to like hold it down all the time. It's just like you're getting in, take a few breaths, and you're coming out again. And that's how to really work with pressure points. Ways to prepare essential oils for ease of use in the labor room is you can make pre-made rollers, which are just a pre-mixed blend. So you might want to have a blend for anxiety, or you might want to have a blend for nausea. And that can be made pre-made, and you can just, it's a little roller on the top, so it's easy to roll either across the back of the neck or across the heart space or onto the wrists. So they can just be shaken up, and you can make them with a carrier oil. Add your essential oils to that, and it's just so easy then to use. I like to make a spray bottle with spring water with some of my favorite essential oils to spray around the mom. Sometimes it's wild orange, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about my oils just now. But I love to spray wild orange or any kind of citrus oil. They can be quite uplifting in a room. And they're also quite cleansing. So if you are supporting, or if you are in hospital and you want to kind of mask some of the smells, the hospital smells, citrus oils are really lovely, as well as peppermint. But you can literally make a spray bottle, shake it up, and just use spring water and just spray that around the room as well. You'd need, in those bottles, you'd need maybe about 20 drops of essential oil in there. The next one, you can use a diffuser, and I don't know that you can use diffusers in hospitals, but if you're having a home birth, you can definitely have a diffuser. You can put oils in there to either purify the air, or if you want to just get those oil molecules that the mother's finding really supportive, you want to get those oil molecules into the room at a consistent pace, then a diffuser is actually really very handy, because some of them, they can reach like 30 square meters, and it's just filling the room consistently with the mist of those oils in there. And then the last thing I like to use is coconut oil, fractionated coconut oil for massage. I love the coconut oil just because it's very light and non-greasy, and it gets absorbed really easily into the skin. So it's not sticky and tacky on the skin. It's just lovely, and there's no fragrance as well. Fractionated coconut, fractionated just simply means that the coconut oil has been placed through a distillation process as well, which keeps the oil in a liquid form so that it doesn't get hard like coconut oil generally does. And then some of my labor and birth companions who I bring with me always to a birth are these guys. They're just some of them. I have more, but I'm going to talk about these specifically today. And Cary Sage is literally, she's the queen in the birth room, okay? She is a uterine tonic that assists with effective contractions. Okay, it can be quite euphoric and wonderful for relieving anxiety as well. So remember that pressure point right across the shoulders. You might want to actually massage that. If you've got some coconut oil or whatever carrier oil, you might want to massage that over the top of her shoulders to calm her when she's feeling nervous, or when you want to relieve tension. But it also really supports the uterus. So that point, the one just above the ankle, on the inside of the ankle that we spoke about first, that would be a good place to use Cary Sage as well. It supports labor as well as helping with the expelling of the placenta. So it literally can be used all the way through labor as well as postpartum, because it helps the uterus contract smaller and smaller in those first weeks as it settles back and the body settles back. So it's a no-brainer for me to use this one at birth as well as for postpartum support. And then geranium is just lovely. It enhances circulation. So if mom is feeling a bit cold, if she's maybe, for whatever reason, she's been in one position for a long time, and maybe sometimes, legs go to sleep or ankles, feet go to sleep, you can actually use some geranium to enhance the circulation. And it's also great to use as a focus for breathing, and can be used as pain relief. And it's just a beautiful, gentle fragrance as well. And it might surprise you, but I never attend a birth without basil essential oil. And we know basil is really great for pastas. But in the birth room, it is, for me, it's an essential, okay? When labor intensifies to the point where the mother is just not managing, basil massaged into the lower back, that sacral point area, offers relief as well as the strength to endure. It's actually known energetically, basil is known as the oil of renewal, and it offers adrenal support and just strength for people who are really fatigued. So again, it's just an amazing essential oil to bring into the birth room, because it can be used at any time for supporting. So both for pain as well as the strength to endure, especially when it's been a long, hard labor perhaps, and we're getting to the end, we're nearly there, but we still need a little bit more energy to go. Basil is amazing. And then one of my absolute favorites is wild orange, so energetically known as the oil of abundance. Wild orange blesses the birthing room with cheer and a sense of, I can do this for the mother. I spray this around the mother throughout active labor. Most mothers ask for more at their postpartum visits because it's such a joyful, cheerful oil that actually brings the mother back to presence when she's maybe losing herself a little bit. I would just spray it around her, or even just bring the open bottle close to her and get her to inhale it, and it always works. It's magic. And then peppermint essential oil can help reduce anxiety and hypertension. And as we spoke about earlier, it's also really amazing for nausea and vomiting, which sometimes can be present at birth as well for the mother. I like to apply it to the spine for its cooling and energizing properties. So especially with the water birth, sometimes in water can get quite hot. The mother can feel really warm, especially in summertime. The room gets really warm, and we often have an ice bowl with, for a cloth that's soaked in ice water. I like to add some peppermint to that, because it's incredibly cooling to the body. So either just that cloth on the forehead or down the spine. You don't want to get essential oil. You don't want to get peppermint in anyone's eye, because it will burn. It's quite potent. But then a pure therapeutic grade peppermint essential oil has also been tested and found that it actually oxygenates the cells by about 15%. So there are Olympic athletes who use peppermint essential oil, and other sports people who use peppermint essential oil specifically for the oxygenation of the cells. So to feel energized, even for the birth support team, for the partner, for anyone in the room, if it's been a long time going, then and everyone's feeling exhausted, peppermint is just amazing. It's incredibly energizing for anyone. So it's definitely part of my toolkit. And then some special mentions. There's a beautiful blend called Whisper that is made of, it's got Cary Sage in it. It also has jasmine, amongst other floral oils. And the floral oils are really amazing for women. They're the women's oils, okay? So this is a women's blend. And I like to take a drop, just one drop on a tissue, and allow the mom to inhale this regularly for when labor has stalled. So maybe, you know, she's been going for a while, and for whatever reason, things are just not moving forward. And you know, active labor was going at one point, and now it's just nothing's happening anymore. So this is a really lovely one to use when there's been a stalling, because the jasmine essential oil is also really good for that. So you can apply that. You can either just inhale it from a tissue, or you can mix it with some carrier oil and actually just massage it onto the belly as well. Again, just one drop diluted with carrier oil is enough. Also can be used on the pressure point on the inside of the ankle, on any of the pressure points actually that I've mentioned. Just be aware that once it's also Whisper actually helps to intensify surges. So it's, in a way, it will create more efficient surges in a sense. So the mothers often feel like now we're rolling, you know, and it can feel quite intense. And that's where balance comes in. Balance is a grounding blend. That's the second oil there in the picture. It's made up of trees, and it has the ability to balance the electrical energies in the body, giving feelings of courage, confidence, and strength. Now, this is a particularly special oil for people who have experienced trauma related to sexual abuse, or any sexual trauma, or where there's a disconnect between their upper and their lower bodies, okay? A friend of mine who is a midwife, she arrived, she obviously had her relationship with her client, and she knew that this client of hers had sexual abuse trauma from when she was younger, and this was her first birth. And she didn't know, the midwife didn't know the effect that balance was going to have on the mother. She wore it for herself that day. So she had some in her neck, and she just, you know, used a roller, and she made some balance blend into her neck, and she was wearing it as a perfume, but also for herself, for grounding herself for the labor for the day. And what happened during labor was that the mother kept nuzzling into her neck and taking deep, deep breaths every time. And my midwife friend was like, what is happening here? And then later on, when the mother was in the pool, the birthing pool, she specifically asked for what that was, that she needed it right now. And it literally helped her. The way that she explained it was that it helped her to stay present and not move into the flashbacks and the fears of what had happened before. And so it's an incredibly beautiful essential oil blend that helps mothers overcome any fear during labor and brings that feeling of calm and peace while grounding and connecting you with your lower body. It's a deeply supportive oil for those who have experienced trauma and are afraid of birth. And that can be common for some people. And it's just, for me, it's amazing to be able to combine these two modalities, because it also gives the mother space where you don't have to be on top of her all the time, massaging her all the time or touching her all the time, because a laboring mother needs to be left alone as much as possible so that she can move through and work through her process. And so for me, combining these essential oils with pressure points, the pressure point techniques is just, it's easier for everyone in the space. So yeah, combining therapeutic grade essential oils with acupressure techniques for me means almost immediate relief of discomfort for the laboring woman. Everyone in the birth room is supported by the aroma. And then, as I mentioned, the combination of touch with aroma offers emotional and physical support, which is really lovely, and not needing a lot of words. I feel like as birth workers, birth keepers, we don't talk much. We know we choose to whisper, and so the less we're talking and the less we engaging the neofrontal cortex, that part that is always the thinking brain, and helping the mother with that as well, the better the outcome, right? And so we know this, and so to have modalities that actually are potent in their support without needing any talking is really great. So for me, the two modalities, they up-level one another. They're both considered vibrational medicine, thus they complement one another. It's less exhausting for the caregiver. Okay, so I don't have to be massaging all the time, because I know that I just have to press a certain point, hold it for about five seconds or so, add an essential oil to it, rub it in or spray it around the mother, and step away and give her the space that she needs. And I don't have to be as exhausted for just, being there, massaging and exerting my own strength and energy in that. It's also that gentle, natural and effective birth and labor support. So yeah, that's basically the end of my slides. And just for those of you who want to, you can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and also you can email me at joy@JoyRising. And I'm going to stop the share for a minute. Actually, not quite yet. I'm just going to leave that there for a minute. Yeah, there's an upcoming masterclass happening in January for a deeper dive into the energetics of essential oils and its flow within the human energy system. So this is for mothers, for doulas, for midwives, or anyone interested in learning more. And now I'm going to stop the share just so that we can all come back to the room here. Yeah.
Hello. That was amazing, Joy. It was so enlightening. And I think what I love about it is that everybody who's come on has brought in this different elements and different aspects of the labor and birth process and how it's supported. We've all alluded to the fear, tension, pain syndrome, and how all the ways that we can stay out of it, avoid it, understand it, recognize it, and all the different ways of coming at it. So it's just so lovely to see it from the different perspectives and see how much is out there to actually support and guide and assist during labor.
Yeah, to me, it's literally, it's a no-brainer. I don't even have a big labor support bag anymore. So when I do go to a birth, it's literally just a small backpack. I just want to make sure I got my oils and my hands.
Absolutely. Those beautiful healing hands of yours too.
So are there any questions? Does anyone have any questions for us? I'd be very happy to answer. Go down to, yeah, that is an amazing thing about peppermint, Charlene. It's just, yeah, bonus all the way. Right.
I'll ask a question in the meanwhile while we're waiting for everybody to think of what they would like to know. Are there any oils that you would recommend moms avoid during pregnancy and labor?
That's a really good question, Karen, and I'm glad you asked that, because that's also why I specifically, my talk was specific to labor and birth, because oils that I would use for labor and birth are not oils that I would use in the first trimester, for example. Like Cary Sage, I wouldn't use it in the first trimester because of the effect it has on the uterus and that uterine tonic. And creating surges for in the body. I wouldn't use the Whisper blend either because of the same thing. It has that jasmine in it. So yeah, there are definitely essential oils that I wouldn't use. And in the first trimester, I would use just like the basic ones. Like peppermint for nausea is actually really good for morning sickness. Really helps. Ginger essential oil for morning sickness is the bomb. And then lavender is also really lovely because it's calming and you can diffuse it and it helps you to sleep at night. So if there is a bit of tension or anxiety, you can definitely use that. You can use the citrus oils throughout labor. So that because they just cheer you up and they're uplifting and they have that general effect on you. Oils that I would definitely avoid would be Cary Sage during my pregnancy. I would avoid oils like cypress essential oil, for example, because cypress is known as the oil of motion and flow. So it creates movement in the body. And you could have it in small diluted amounts, but I wouldn't use it consistently. Because it again, for people who have a history of miscarriage or just like difficulty in holding, like maybe spontaneous abortions, anything that where the uterus is just not holding on, well, you almost want to really wait for the pregnancy to be well established, and that would be the second trimester. That I would then be more free in the oils that I use. And there are some that can be added then to those basic ones. But like lemon, lavender, peppermint, the balanced grounding blend would be fine to use as well, and other citrus oils.
Thank you so much. And I was sharing earlier, I'm not sure if you had joined yet, about my own journey of becoming a midwife and how I was obviously on the medical path for a while and then left that and unlearned and been relearning it. And so many of the things that I was exposed to while I was still on my medical journey are the things that I now really understand and promote and believe in, because I saw with my very skeptical medical eyes, and Cary Sage was one of them, where I was supporting a woman, it was many, many years ago, in a hospital birth. And I was one of those midwives who also, frowned upon the presence of the doula and all of these things, not all the time, but, there were certain things that if I didn't understand them, you don't understand them, you don't know them, then you are wary of them in the labor room. And she had her sister-in-law who was a doula with her, and after the mom gave birth, she had a heavy bleed, which in medical terms we call a postpartum hemorrhage or PPH. And her doula and sister-in-law used Cary Sage, and I was amazed at how effective the Cary Sage was while I was running around and drawing up my drugs and doing everything that I would normally do to a assist in a PPH. So, it was things like that that really exposed me to alternative and complementary therapies and how they work, and ultimately guided the midwife that I am now. And I'm so glad, because it does really give me very good insight. And I'm not sorry for the medical training that I've had and for being in that system, because I now have such a more balanced perspective on what is available, how these things work. And I also understand when there is resistance to alternative and complementary therapies, because I had that same resistance until I opened my mind enough to embrace and learn about them and to actually see how beneficial they can be.
Yeah, sometimes we just need that experience, hey? And that's why I always tell this story, and this isn't related necessarily to the birth topic, but I don't know, when my children were younger, I always had my bottle of tea tree and my bottle of lavender, because that's what everybody always had, right? This is like in the 90s, but nobody knew what to do with them. I just remember like having this bottle of tea tree and knowing that I could maybe use it, I could put it in the bath and that it would be cleansing somehow, and I knew that I could put lavender on their pillows and it would help them to sleep. But more than that, I didn't really know. And I remember, so this is literally like 20 years ago, we had some issue in the family and I needed to go to the medicine cabinet for something. And I saw these two bottles on the windowsill in the bathroom. And I looked at them and I was like, why are you like the stepchildren of natural health? Nobody knows anything about you. And there was a feeling that I had that the time was coming. And I feel that time is now. I feel like right now there is such an abundance of information. And that's because in the last 15 years or so, there's been active research done on essential oils and what they're finding, because I always had this feeling like if we're using homeopathy, which comes from plants, if we're using herbs that come from plants, surely essential oils that come from plants can also be used as medicine. And why isn't that happening? And right now, the research that is happening around the world is just incredible in supporting that understanding. And so you have integrative doctors and psychologists and all kinds of people using them and relying on them more and more for support in their work. But yeah, it's great when you do actually get firsthand experience and you can see like, wow, this stuff actually works.
It really does, and I love that I now have that broader perspective, that I'm able to embrace those and bring them into my teachings and share that. And thank you so much for sharing it. And Charlene's given us a brilliant question asking where you can get therapeutic grade oils and how these differ from local oils from local shops. And that is a great question, because I know that the quality of oil, is very important.
Oil quality is very important, and thank you for that question, Charlene. Yeah, so I'll tell you a little bit of my story about how I came to pure therapeutic grade essential oils. So when I started as a doula, I was using what was available to us, and I looked for the organic label. I looked for things that were clean and pure as far as I understood them to be. And then until about 7 years ago, a friend of mine actually gave me a bottle of a pure therapeutic grade lavender essential oil, which was different. It was labeled differently. It wasn't just organic. And what I learned in the process was that organic only applies to the plant. So when there's no standard for essential oils, and there isn't a standard for essential oils in terms of that it's got to meet a certain criteria every time it is produced. You can grow your plants organically, but what happens between the plant and the bottle, there is no certification for that. And so often what happens is that the essential oils then are cut with vegetable oils or other fillers or bulking agents. And so basically when you buy off the shelves, you are getting something that has been adulterated with other things that's been added to it. And basically you've got between 1 and 10% essential oil in there, and the rest is not therapeutic. So you can use those oils. You can use the ones that you get off the shop shelves if you just want to make nice smelling things for around your house. But what I was wanting and what I was looking for was a therapeutic grade, because I was looking for using it for my family, for my children as natural medicine, and I was wanting to give my clients the best that was available, and that's where the distinction came in for me. There was a research article that was done recently. It came out last year, and it was done on lavender essential oil, just one oil, and it was done by the School of Pharmacy at one of the American universities. I think it was the University of Michigan and Mississippi. And it was their School of Pharmacy, and they did a test on lavender. And what they did was they bought 32 brands of lavender essential oil that was marked as therapeutic grade or organic. And what they did was they put them through tests over 4 years. So this wasn't just a one-off. They were looking for something over 4 years. And they didn't like advertise that they had taken these 32 different brands. But what they did was they put them through different tests, and what they found was that 2/3 of those brands, when they tested those oils, even though they were marked for therapeutic grade, they were filled with junk. It was hardly even essential oils in it. It was extracted chemical compounds, like single extracted chemical compounds like linalool, which you get in lavender, but it wasn't lavender, it was linalool. It was just that one compound that was in the bottle. It wasn't even lavender. So they found that 2/3 of those brands had junk added to the bottles. The other third, the last third, they came up as clean and they were consistently clean. But what the difference was that their potency differed. So from one year to the next, you weren't getting the same potency of that particular plant in the essential oil. It was you were getting variations of that potency, and sometimes like up to a 20% variation. And there was only one oil. There was only one brand that came out, and that was the doTERRA brand, and that's the one I use because it was proven over 4 years to be consistently within 1% variation of that potency. And as a result, that School of Pharmacy labeled it as pharmaceutical grade. And pharmaceutical grade just simply means that it's consistent. So every time I use that bottle of lavender oil, if I'm using it for a condition, maybe you've got a family who has a child who is suffering with some kind of disorder, and they have found one oil, a therapeutic grade oil that is really going to help that child. They want to know that every time they use that and they buy that bottle or they buy another bottle, that it's going to have the same effect. We can't say that about 2/3 of the brands that's out there. So you want to actually go directly to the people who make that and who get those oils, rather than just getting it on the shop shelves. The shop shelves ones are great for nice smells, etc., for burning, etc., but they're not for therapeutic grade. And so you need to decide for yourself what it is that you want. But I can say for myself, as a practitioner, as a doula, as well as a shiatsu massage therapist, and where I use the aromatherapy oils, and as a mom, it's the only oils I've used. And as a family, we haven't even seen a doctor in about 5 years. So those oils you get direct, and they've set it on a network marketing system, so that's literally just that you're buying it from someone who has had an experience with that oil, and they can speak of the experience, and they can teach and hold your hand through using it. Whereas with the ones you get on the shelves, there's nobody teaching you how to use those oils. You don't really know what's inside, because if you were to ask the company to disclose what's inside, they won't necessarily tell you. And if you see my hair, I've got curls. If I find my curly head friend has found something that works for her curls that keep them from going unruly, that's her experience. I'm going to ask her what she's using. And that's literally how that works. So basically, it's on sharing the effects of that one thing that has worked for me. And I can share that with others. And that's how I can get those oils. So if you are interested and you do want to know more about the pure therapeutic grade oils, you can contact me, and you can also chat to Charlene as well, because she will also be able to help you with that. But thanks for that question. It's a very important one. Thank you, Charlene. Are there any other questions?
I just want to say thank you so much for also explaining that and how important it is about the use of the oils and having someone to guide you, because using them correctly does make such a difference. So that was such an important point that you raised. Thank you, Joy.
You're welcome. Very welcome. Yeah.
And we've still got another 15 minutes, so please feel free if you still have any other questions, anybody. And Joy, I do think that you've got a little gift for somebody, do you?
I do. I would love to see who on this call right now is expecting in the next 3 months. Is there anyone here who is pregnant and expecting a baby in the next 3 months? So between now and January, February, anyone?
And maybe for those who are expecting in January, February, if you can just pop that in the chat box to say when your baby's due. Is that what you want them to do, Joy?
Just come on and tell us when your baby's due, and I have a gift for you. Nobody. Oh, my baby's due on the 22nd of December. Okay, so that's going to go to who was that? Zahira Majid. That's cool. Are you based in Cape Town, Zahira? Because you need to be able to get to me for this particular gift. I am giving away a full body massage. Oh yay, Zahira. So yeah, can you send me a message? I don't know. Yeah, you can email me, or you can find me on one of my either on Instagram or Facebook. But Zahira Majid, you have won a full body pregnancy shiatsu massage with me, and I can tell you now that you're going to love it. I always sometimes when my clients come and I'm massaging them, I'm like, oh my word, I can just feel how the space in this body is expanding. Yay. Okay, cool. We'll message me on Instagram. Plus, I'm giving you a 5 ml bottle of lemon, a 5 ml bottle of peppermint, and a 5 ml bottle of lavender essential oil to use as well. So, and I will teach you how to use that. So that's my gift to you, Zahira. Congratulations on that. And yeah, I look forward to getting your message in Instagram. I did mention the upcoming masterclass in January that I'm going to be running, which is really a deeper dive into the energetics of essential oils and how it flows within the human energy system. And if any of you are interested in, you're so welcome, Zahira. If any of you are interested in learning more about is it because this topic can go deep and it can go wide and it can go far, and there's so much to learn. And I am quite passionate actually about putting tools into people's hands themselves. So I feel like there's not enough massage therapists around. There's not enough self-knowledge. There's not enough knowledge that people have to actually be able to, because you can, if you've got the tools, you can actually support yourself. You can actually use those pressure points when you're in labor, or you can teach your partner how to use those pressure points in labor and be supported. Because sometimes I just think there's not enough hands who know what to do. And so I love teaching. And so finding that combination and helping people to understand how those meridians run through the body and those pressure points on the body and how it responds then to this high vibrational medicine of essential oils, that those two together, and how to use that for your mental health, for your physical health, for your spiritual and emotional health, is quite amazing. And these oils can be used, and acupressure, the combination of the two, can be used for the whole family, whether it's the baby or whether it's the oldest person in the family, or even for your pets and animals. You can use both these techniques, both these modalities. And my heart is to see that those techniques are in your hands so that you can know how to use it for yourself and share that with other people. I don't have a link yet to the masterclass, but there will be more information on my Instagram, on my social media. So yeah, you can, if you follow me, you will find more information about that coming up soon. It will be an online masterclass, will be 1 hour, and where I will be taking you on a little deep dive into all these amazing aspects of vibrational medicine and how you can use it. Yay.
Thank you so much, Joy. That was a really, really insightful, beautiful talk that just filled in so many different perspectives that everybody else has shared with us today. Today has been an amazing day of great talks, amazing experts, incredible information. And I know that there's been a few people who've been popping in and out throughout the day and really benefiting from that. For those of you who've just arrived, oh my goodness, there's a lot of noise going on in my background. You know where I live, so
Everybody's going to the beach today.
They are. It's a beautiful beach day here where I am. So, so just a reminder to everybody that if you have missed any of the talks that you really wanted to join and you were unable to, the links to all of the recordings are going to be sent to you in the follow-up email sequence, as well as all the downloads and brochures and information that the speakers have alluded to. So everything that you've heard about today will be shared with you so that you can go back and watch them. And I really recommend that you do, because every single one of these talks so far has been absolutely amazing, really guiding you deeper into how you're going to prepare to bring your baby into the world, and your role, your partner's role, the mental, physical aspects, complementary therapy. It's just been amazing. And our next talk, and in fact, the rest of the afternoon is going more into the baby now and all the things that you're going to be preparing for your baby. So thank you so much, Joy.